Hey folks, welcome to Guitar Daily. My name's Nick Granville. I do videos every day on YouTube. So today what I thought I'd talk about is like a pentatonic approach. I think pentatonics, a lot of guitar players kind of get stuck with pentatonic. It becomes a thing. And I've noticed it because I've sort of been looking around on YouTube and seeing what sort of stuff are people posting most about, and it seems to be pentatonic. Right, so the first thing to do is, like, you notice when I played that intro there, I played like over this G minor funky thing, one of the central tracks, and it's just like a G minor to a C minor thing, and then there's like a E flat D7 type thing. All right, so it's not really a blues, is it? It's really funk, isn't it? It's like a funky groove type thing. And the thing that happens a lot of times when people play pentatonic is they just play the blues, right? So one of the first things you can do to sort of develop your pentatonic is just stay away from the textbook blues licks, right? Those sorts of things, they're great, don't get me wrong, but I think if you're trying to develop your pentatonic playing, I think that's one of the best things to do. Stay away from those things once you've got them down, because you've got to have them down first. If you haven't got them down, then that's like step one, but I'm talking here about step two, right? So stay away from. Because what is it about someone like David Gilmour who plays pentatonic, but you would never really say he's a blues player, is he? I mean, largely what he plays is pentatonic. It's because he's thinking melodically, right? So instead of thinking like blues licks, right? Those are cool, but what about takes on a totally different kind of feeling about it, because it's now no longer kind of rooted in the blues, but it kind of is, because it's coming from that place, but it's not the cliches, if you know what I mean. So that's the first thing I'd say, is start with like trying to avoid the cliches to force you to play more melodically, like David Gilmour does, right? And the next thing I'd say too is to start, like, instead of playing positionally, start thinking about how you can play up the neck. All I did there was I played the B string and played the two notes of G minor pentatonic. I'm in G minor, by the way, just because that backing track was. And then move up to the next one. And maybe you'll go on the end. Just give it a little bit of spice or something, you know what I mean? But again, that approach this direction. It'll make you phrase differently. And that's one of the big things, is like, how are you going to think about your phrasing? And that'll make you, again, it'll make your pentatonic playing really pop and be something, something like, I could go, right? It's all pretty predictable, right? But if I went, see there, I put a little rhythmic thing, it became a little bit unpredictable at the end. You kind of went, oh, what's he going to do? And then I went, there you go. And so I resolved it, right? So think about your phrasing. So I'll show you a little bit with the track. I'm going to play over bar lines. See there, I went da-da-da and da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and you'd expect to go da-da-da, but I stayed 2 more beats longer, again, to try and break up the kind of predictability of it. I think that's one thing with your phrasing, is just being very conscious about how you're going to phrase, right? Another thing I'd say, again, of course, is rhythm. I've talked about rhythm a lot on this channel, different rhythm things you can do to spice up your playing, but it's important consideration, again, to try and break out of just doing the standard pentatonics. I've talked about it before too, about playing more than one note. That still stands, right? Another thing too, I would say, if you're wanting to, again, to break out of your pentatonics, some of you might not be so comfortable in G minor, right? Probably used to playing in A minor, probably used to playing in E minor, but G minor is going to take on a whole different thing about how you kind of play, right? Your positions look the same, and I know A minor is only up 2 frets, you go back down 2 frets, but everything looks different, right? And again, it's going to make you phrase differently, play differently. If you're comfortable with G minor, A minor, and E minor, what about F minor? You can see there, I'm kind of almost down in an open position, right? See there, I skipped a string because I was thinking about phrasing, I was thinking about rhythms, I was thinking about playing in different positions. So I came up with something that, I'm doing this on the fly, but only because I've practiced this so many times, right? I work on this stuff all the time in my playing, and the material that I'm using here is pentatonic, which is seen as very simple, right? But you can make simple complex by what you do with it. And I've always looked that way at music, right? You can have, I don't think people need to know thousands of things. I don't think that's the best way to approach music. The better thing to do, instead of knowing thousands of things one way each thing, know one thing thousands of ways, right? I mean, and that's really what David Gilmour does, right? As I mentioned, he largely plays minor pentatonic, you know, but he plays in a way that just makes those, he knows how to milk everything out of every note. And that's why he's the king, really, right? I can't think of very many guitar players who do that sort of thing, that do it better. He's amazing. Because like I said, he milks the most out of every note. So that's something worth considering as well. Like, what a note like that, what can I do with it, right? There's vibrato. There's where I pick, as I talked about in the lesson a couple of days ago. And go off to a note and bend up to it. Bend from a semitone below. Lots of ways I can get into that note that all speak differently to the listener. So those are the things I'd sort of encourage you to do to sort of break out of your pentatonics. I mean, of course, you have to know the basics, right? You've got to know the shapes. You've got to know all 5 of them across the neck, right? That's really important. But then start these approaches to see if you can take it somewhere further. Anyway, I'll play you out on more of that G minor backing track thing. If you like this, please share it with people you think might be interested in it also. It's probably the best thing you can do is to share it with people. Help me grow this community, and that helps me do more stuff with this channel. I post on here every day, as I mentioned, so I've got some interviews coming up with various different guitar playing people from around the world. So that'll be cool. I've got some new videos I'm going to do about playing different songs and stuff like that. But if there's anything you want me to cover, leave it in the comments below and I'll get to it as I can. So I'll play you out on more of that G minor and G minor funk thing, and I'm going to explore more of this stuff with pentatonic that I was talking about. Thank you.